Hello and welcome to What the Fiction Presents. I'm Kyle, your sunglass chucking host, and with me today is none other than the incomparable Robin Gould.
Yeah.
Welcome, Robin, to the show.
Yeah, I've been here before.
Not this show, not my show. This is my show, right? Because I'm the host.
I know.
Yes, I know. I know that you know. And we are here to talk about none other than what if zombies. Very good. Yes. So, what did you think of the episode, Robin?
It was a good episode. I was commenting on it to myself the whole time. I was like, what? What did he do? What? 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 What?
What does that mean? What?
What if?
Yeah. What is it? What was making you go what?
I liked all of the twists in it.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky didn't get enough scream time.
Okay, some more Bucky screen time. You liked what you saw though of Bucky?
That was it hurt when he said he was my friend, but I'm like not sad.
Oh,
line that hurt me.
Wow, that was a big moment in there, right? Like, I mean, he's a zombie now, and I would have been dead otherwise. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Falcon. Yeah.
You mean Sam?
Yeah. Well, he was Falcon at the time in this, right? Cool. Well, my thoughts were that this was a bunch of zombies. I've always felt that Marvel did the zombies thing because it was an opportunity to look at the characters from a different perspective, i.e., what would they be like if they were undead, flesh-craving monsters? And how would they fare in a zombie apocalypse? And to that end,
no one
fared well at all. And I have to admit that I loved this episode. It was extremely well thought out. It put characters together that we hadn't really seen on screen together before, created new versions of teams, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And gave us a bunch of, typical standard zombie movie tropes and motifs.
Has no one seen a horror movie?
I.e., no one is safe, right? It doesn't matter who you are. They split up. Somebody always knows something about the horror movies and usually still gets things wrong. I will talk about the best moment in the entire show because I think that you, like me, saw this coming too, and we were all excited when it happened. And I really did enjoy every single moment of this episode. However, there are people that I know who found this episode really hard because they're not good fans of horror and they don't particularly like zombies at all. Nameless, my typical co-host who did not want to have anything to do with this discussion today.
I watched both Zombielands, so I think I'm qualified.
How many other zombie films have you seen? And I would love it if chat were to throw out there too some of their favorite zombie comedies that they've seen out there. And there are a ton, Robin, that you have not yet seen.
I haven't seen a lot. I think it's Zombieland and then maybe a couple of others.
Really? Okay.
I get the zombie trope pretty well, though.
Yep.
I watch some I read Apocalypse AU sometimes.
So, while you're throwing up some of your favorite zombie comedies, let's dig into this as well. And we'll do the thing I always like to do off the get-go, and that is, what shots did we get in this show that are the same as the ones we've gotten in the movies? And so, I have to admit, almost everything on the top of your screen, the top, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of the 16 are all literally the opening shots of the show. Except for when Bruce Banner tries to pull out the Hulk and they both do the same no down below. But you can see it's almost hard at this vantage point to tell which one's the animated and which one's the real. I mean, I can definitely point them out, right? Can you?
But, no, I know which one's animated and which one's real.
Look at
the Doctor Strange eyes really.
Yeah, the house isn't the house super code, like it's really very much the house of Doctor Strange. What's neat is that the very opening of our show and the very opening of Infinity War, we have exactly that. We've got the opening of the TV, and I'll tell you this as well, that the camera angle turns and rotates, kind of like shifting perspectives, right? Mm-hmm. Which we've talked about in the past, how you use the camera to influence mood. Because things are different, things are skewed.
I'm taking a film studies class.
Nice. But they're doing it in both. Like this one here exactly copies what's happening at the opening of Infinity War. You can turn them on at the same time and watch the camera angle slowly change and turn as it sinks in. So then we get the blast, we get Dr. Banner arriving in Doctor Strange's
there's
house.
No Strange and only a cape.
Only a cape, which I will once again point out, it is obvious that the director and the writer and the writing group love cape.
They love the cape.
Because this is not the first episode we've gotten cape in, and he is yet it. I think it. Right? It is the shining hero of this episode in so many ways. So Cape, my favorite, absolutely top of the marks there for Cape. Going back to the PowerPoint here, though, at the bottom you can see when Hank Pym arrives into the Quantumverse, is that what it's called?
The Quantum Realm.
The Quantum Realm. When Hank Pym finally arrives there, that arrival is very similar to the one we get in this show, and to the point where when you see his wife turn around, the shot is almost exactly the same as well.
It's more ominous, though.
Yeah, and why is that, Robin?
Because she's a zombie dad.
Yes, she is the first zombie. The progenitor zombie.
I like the way they started the zombie virus. I was curious as how they were going to do that, and I think doing the quantum realm and starting it at the beginning of Infinity War was cool. So
absolutely. It is also neat to see that this is yet another episode where it is Hank Pym and Hope that are responsible for the massive changes that we get in the world around us. So that's pretty neat as well.
Why they do this?
It's because shrinking technology is world-breaking, and I think maybe they recognize that in some level, that like world-breaking technology here, folks. We're
breaking worlds.
Yeah, and now I've already done it. I normally say, "Where's the Watcher?" And that's usually a call to question how many times you've seen the Watcher on screen in the episode.
Like
and that's
3.
my new one that I'm doing. Robin says 3. Everyone else who's watching the PowerPoint and watched me accidentally click it forward knows how many there actually are.
I thought it was 2, maybe 3.
But if you're listening at home on a podcast much later, then you can guess as well as we scroll forward, and I reveal that yes, in fact, it is only twice that we see his face this time. And I just once again want to point out how amazing the art is in this show, that just these standard stock shots of scenery, we are getting beautiful pastoral scenes in the top, and in the bottom we get that building
this
on the right looks
color
real.
scheme is cool.
Yeah, it's very golden glowing, isn't it? Yeah, almost reflecting that golden coloration of the golden era of comics. Yes, that's true. So there we go. That's how many times we saw the Watcher this episode. But I'll tell you this, he talked a ton. He spoke nonstop, much like me right now, where Robin's hardly getting a word in edgewise. We get so much chatter.
Oh, of course you have to be taller.
You just reminded me to sit up straight.
I'm not going to do that. So.
That's fair. So it didn't really lead to a different choice, as Zach is pointing out. What happens to to Janet, right?
Janet
Van Dyne. I think that I'm am I getting the name right, producer lady? Yeah, get a nodding in the background. So Janet Van Dyne.
Breaking the fourth wall, Dad.
I did not. I asked my producer for help. That's not uncommon.
Never done before.
What did Janet do differently that caused Janet to get this virus that resulted in this zombification, this encephalopathy?
Existed there?
I guess. Okay, so Marvel and zombies. Let's get into it, shall we? Do you know anything about Marvel and zombies?
You keep trying to recommend me comics, and I'm like, no.
That's true.
No.
I do. So here's a great snapshot of a bunch of easy Google or image searches, because I only have a day to put this together, of our zombie world. Okay, so in February of 2006, Mark Millar, who was writing comics for, he was writing the Ultimate Fantastic Four comics. We're about issue 21 or so. I collected the trade paperbacks, so it's the 5th collected edition of all of those comics at the time. Mm-hmm. But in February of 2006, 2 years after the initial start of Ultimate Fantastic Four, we get Reed Richards suddenly getting contacted by somebody else who is another Reed Richards. And of course, this Reed Richards in the Ultimate World being quite a young gentleman, he's being very trusting and not really forthcoming, teleports himself into what becomes known later on as Earth 2149. And Earth 2149 has been overrun by something called the Hunger. Something crashed.
Yes. A lovely name for a zombie apocalypse.
Yes, whatever it is that causes it to happen. And what it does is it turns normal people into your standard shuffling zombies, but anyone with any degree of superpower maintains a portion or a fraction of their personalities, but still has access to all of their super abilities. Mm-hmm. So they kind of overrun the world very quickly. And then they go off and they overrun the stars very quickly, and the entire universe is essentially eaten and turned into zombies, if you can imagine. And so Reed Richards, the zombie, starts looking at other realities to infiltrate them and go and eat them. Yes. And now Marvel What If has put this zombie world out there as something that's happening. And rather than have it be the Hunger that has initiated it, it is instead the quantum realm that has brought this virus forward, which I thought was really, really smart and really thoughtful and really gave good, strong attention to how could this have happened and what brought this to be.
I thought that it might have pulled just one day the virus just appeared.
Yes. And so they didn't really talk too much or get into the origins of it in the Mark Millar version of the Ultimate Fantastic Four. But it was kind of a big thing, and Marvel loved it. And I will tell you something else, that someone else out there in the world was writing a super successful, massive, groundbreaking zombie story at this time in graphic novel form, and that was Robert Kirkman. So Marvel went to Robert Kirkman and said, "Hey, Mr. Kirkman, we know how much you love zombies. Do you love Marvel? And how much would you love Marvel zombies?" And I think Kirkman basically threw it on the ground and whatever he was holding and ran off to go do Marvel Zombies because he loved the idea so much.
He threw it. Didn't matter what it was.
Didn't matter what it was. It was the Hope Diamond. No! And just ran off to go do Marvel Zombies.
What? Wait. Oh, I was going to make a reference and then I just didn't.
Right. Well, there's a great Lonely Island. Yeah, Lonely Island. I threw it on the ground song. He basically threw that on the ground and then he went and made Marvel Zombies. And it was like a 4 or 5. I wish I could remember how many issues it was. 4 or 5 issue month in the summer comic run with a great artist, and it was so loved and so eaten up by Marvel fans. Yeah, like a zombie eating human flesh. It was so loved that it was picked, like they've done it 4 more times since then, and it's become this massive, complicated, convoluted story where like there's a wall that like stops this blocking the zombies from somewhere else, and it's actually made up of the Thing. Like, it's very complicated, very interesting, really, really groundbreaking stuff. And it's all driven from Mark Millar thinking like, hey, what if I threw some zombies at Ultimate Fantastic Four? And they're like, sure, why not?
Listen. Marvel and zombies.
Yes. That's it. And then you basically have this, like, you would think that the circles there of fans of Marvel and the circle of fans of zombies might not be very big. It turns out it's massive. So massive, in fact, that I'll make the PowerPoint, PPT is what this is called. And I usually misconstrue that to be power play points for my hockey fantasy draft, which is coming up soon. Anyway, in the right, Funko hit on a huge selling feature because they had, your Wolverines, your Deadpools, your Hulks, your Magnetos already out there in the normal. Once the Marvel Zombies stuff happened, they got the rights to this as well. And so they've been generating the Marvel zombie characters as action figure.
I like the cover art for the Wanda one.
Oh, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it looks really cool.
All of the art is fabulous, fantastic stuff. And
Fantastic Four?
Yes. And it's so fantastic they did it 5 times. So now there's like 25 to 30 of these comics out there now in 5 trade paperback form. You can get them on Marvel Unlimited, I'm pretty sure. And they're grotesque and gory, but also look at your characters that you love so much in completely different ways, i.e. the zombie way. Okay. Yeah, and as Jesse's mentioning below, then like 14 years later, DC's like, we could do zombies too. And I think the world is a little bit done with zombies. One last point. Here's the cool thing.
Dad, the world is done with DC.
Okay. One last point on the zombie thing before we move on to horrors. And this ties in directly, is that they have figured out where the origin of the hunger comes from. It is actually an offshoot from the planet that Ash vs. Evil Dead is on. So the zombies from Ash vs. Evil Dead and those 4 movies now at this point, those movies tie in directly into our Marvel universe from Marvel 2149, where the hunger struck, into this one now. So there you are.
Complicated.
Yes. Super complicated, super engaging, because that means that Bruce Campbell's Ash is a canon character in Marvel. So there you are.
Canon things, right?
So, you want to survive the zombie apocalypse? Was it just me, or was the moment when Steve Rogers gets bit in the neck by zombie Hank Pym one of the funniest moments in the show? Am I all alone there, or was it really funny?
I was just like...
Which he does, but because his mass retains while he's small like that, it doesn't hurt him over much. I still don't understand how the shrinking technology works from a physics perspective, but it's a TV show, so I have to move it along. It's the quantum realm. Also, at the end of the So You Want to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse, Peter marches a zombie going across the screen, which I thought, and I don't know if I was alone in that, looks exactly like the Mutant Enemy logo, which has that very same ghoul go across the screen saying "grr arg" at the end of every Joss Whedon production. Which is interesting that they would throw this subtly out there, because it doesn't sound these days like Joss Whedon and Marvel are getting along. And also, why are we still talking about Joss Whedon? So
Also, Peter totally carried this episode.
He did. And he did that through a very strong understanding of horror movies. So let's talk about how much fun zombies are. And a couple of people have talked in the chat about, well, no, the chat's gone too far and I can't read it anymore. So I was going to get to this faster than I did. I think somebody mentioned Ash vs. Evil Dead as one of their favorite zombie films. Throw out some more of them if you could. As we talk about some of the zombie comedies and one key important zombie television show.
Check the back seat. I've seen that.
Exactly. So I did a whole bunch of the rules from Zombieland because I felt like this television show, this episode really drove a lot of their own little humor, their own discussion points, their own pieces from Zombieland. However, I have to include Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, Warm Bodies, and Shaun versus the Dead. Oh, Shaun of the Dead as our key comedies out there. I personally find Shaun of the Dead to be my favorite.
He just wanted a Twinkie.
He did just want a Twinkie in Zombieland. So you've seen Zombieland 1 and 2.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. We marathoned them.
Nice. But you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead or Warm Bodies or Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. And actually, I'll point this up here too. Can anyone in the chat tell me where that map is from? If you do, I will reward you with some sort of amazing prize that will be determined at a later date. So there you go. And caveat, look at that. For those who are watching today, you'll get a super cool prize that I haven't determined what it is yet. So there you go. And if you're all listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, maybe go check it out on YouTube and see if you too can figure out what this is from.
Wow, Dad, you're being so helpful to the podcast viewers.
I know, right? Maybe people will pause there or take a screenshot and be like, I will find this, Kyle. Anyway, so it's from a TV show. And there's only one other TV show in there, and that is The Walking Dead, which is 10 seasons long, huge show, lasted forever. It is groundbreaking.
Isn't it still going?
I think so.
It's still going, I'm pretty sure.
I kind of feel like it isn't, but maybe it is.
I think it is.
People in the chat can tell us if it is or isn't. But I will say this, that is my own opinion that I know is definitely not exercised by the producer of this television show and owner of this stream, that zombies are fun. How do you feel about zombies, Robin?
They're fun until they're grotesque.
Okay, what's that mean?
We both know what that means, though.
Okay, but extrapolate further.
Like disgusting, beheaded, spewing out yellow liquid from their internal chest cavities.
Okay.
Being sliced in half with Captain America's shield.
Oh, okay. So they're fun when they're chasing the hero, but haven't caught the hero nor been dispatched by the hero. When they're slowly shuffling around.
Or in Minecraft.
Okay, or in Minecraft. Yeah, I think Minecraft is a good reference there because they are very slow and they are very accurately portrayed zombies in there as well. So, oh, and Allison tells us that The Walking Dead is still going on because The Walking Dead shall never end. I personally own 3 of the omnibuses. It's not even like the normal size ones; they're the massive ones. And I have not even read the 3rd one because the 2nd one was so crushing. At the end of it, I could not move on. So, why is this important when it comes to Marvel zombies? Well, it is literally half of what we're talking about. We already know all these characters from the MCU. Now we get to see them zombified. So I'll ask you this. Who was your favorite zombification of a hero that wasn't already human to begin with? It was basically just a zombie threat in the show. Was it Captain America? Was it Falcon? Was it Hawkeye? I kind of liked Hawkeye.
I think I liked Captain America the most.
Captain America the most?
First, officially, 4th person to get bitten was very blue for some reason, and
You see just like the look of him.
And I think that his showdown with Bucky was pretty cool.
That's true. Not much of a showdown though, was it? But yeah, I agree. I fully and 100% agree. So we got to meet a whole bunch of zombies. I really liked Zombie Wong and Zombie Doctor Strange because I felt like their ability to still use their magics was really worrisome.
I was horrified, like, actually.
And the way they took out Thanos's forerunners, the Black Order, I was shocked. Like, and so too was.
I thought that was our team. Like, we were gonna be good there, and then they just kicked in the foreshadowing, and like, Bruce was like, "Yeah, totally,
absolutely,
my boy," and then it was.
Yeah. I agree. So here we go. We've got our, like, you want to survive the zombie apocalypse. They're going to introduce us to our central survivors. And I loved how they did this in the film that Spider-Man was, Peter Parker's making. We get our first introduction to Happy Hogan.
I'm not single. I'm saving myself for Thor.
I think that's the t-shirt of the day. Hopefully it's coming to a t-shirt store near us soon.
We don't have a Disney Plus store anymore.
So one of my favorite moments from the show, not my favorite moment, but one of them was Happy Hogan with the hand zapper from Iron Man's suit going blam, 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 blam. Just delightful. Then I want to point out a few things. So they tell us what his skills are: driving, coffee, boxing. Those are all things he does for Tony. Happy Hogan, never actually happy, is really funny. And I also wanted to point out that not only is the boxing that was being referenced there in this skill set something that he does in Iron Man 2, where he's going out with Tony, and then Black Widow comes and beats the snot out of him. But it's also something from a TV show that you have been recently watching, which I think this will be the 4th time I've mentioned it. So if you're keeping track at home, this is number 4. What TV show is that?
I'm watching a lot of TV shows today. Friends.
There we go. And who does he play in Friends?
I don't know.
Pete, Monica's boyfriend.
Oh, right.
Is Jon Favreau.
I'm on the 6th season. That was in like season 2.
Yes, you've moved on past Jon Favreau. But guess what? Jon Favreau hasn't moved on because he's in a full body cast here. So it's just funny and interesting as well that I thought would bring up, because we've got Jon Favreau doing MMA poorly in a TV show, and then he's also the boxer here. But then nonetheless, he is one of our central survivors to begin with. Our next group of characters that we get introduced to were just they started to get more cinematic, more added in. Like, you could tell the graphics were done better by Peter afterwards. But I thought it was really interesting that these are the people that were working with Peter and Okoye.
I just like, this is such a ragtag group of people.
They really are.
Bucky Barnes. Yep. Obviously, he's survived because of his arm.
Yes.
I like the shower scene.
Oh, yes, because it's more opportunity for shirtless Bucky. And so I included the other shirtless Bucky because I know how much shirtless Bucky is an appreciated topic and image here in my own home. So here
Not by me.
No, I know. Shirtless Bucky is there solely for our producers. And if I could put shirtless Bucky into every PowerPoint that I'm making for What If this season,
hide I know him in the corner.
Would. Yes,
hide him in the corner.
Where's the Watcher? Where's shirtless Bucky? But we get him directly in this one. He's grumpy. He's silent but deadly. His skills are murder, killer arm, and heavy sleeper. I love that his skill is heavy sleeper. What is that in reference to? Any guesses to why they say heavy sleeper as a skill?
Winter Soldier?
There we go. Yes, because he kept getting put to sleep and then awakened in a time of need.
I thought that might make him a light sleeper.
You'd think so, hey? We got Sharon Carter. I can't read that at the moment. If you can, let me know. Her middle part was really funny at the time, too. Skills, spycraft, first aid, and eulogies.
Yeah.
Why is it eulogies?
They're in a zombie apocalypse. They need to give some eulogies.
I understand that, but she's also the one who gave the eulogy for her mom, her grandmother, her aunt. That's right, yeah, because otherwise she'd be directly related to Steve. Her aunt, Peggy, when Steve is there, she's the one giving the eulogy for Aunt Peggy. And then she's one of the principal eulogy givers for Steve. So eulogies are a special skill set. And then we get Kurt, which I thought was a brilliant ad from our Ant-Man times.
Yeah.
Because Scott Lang is supposedly gone.
I didn't recognize him at first, which is so sad because I was like excited. Like, who is this guy? Where is he from? He's so cool.
Yes. I honestly think they included Kurt solely because he's the one who references Baba Yaga, the witch, in Ant-Man. He's talking about it all the time. And here's a perfect opportunity. They're about to encounter the Scarlet Witch. So why not have him directly tie that with a bit of foreshadowing? So we've got our Kurt, and his skills are languages, Slavic folklore, and crime.
Slavic folklore.
So here we are. The Blonde Bond. Thank you very much, Jennifer. I knew that it was too small for me to read it from this screen. It might be too small for other people as well. But the Blonde Bond is Sharon Carter. And these are the people in the video that tells us what we should do and how we should protect ourselves when it comes to zombies. So funny. So
it's like the Zombieland rules, but if it was made by Peter in the middle of a zombie apocalypse trying to learn how to use whatever software to edit video.
Exactly. Like you can tell he's still editing videos just in case other people join the group that he needs to educate them on what's going on. I love it. It makes perfect sense as the Hulk, Bruce Banner, has crashed to the earth. So I want to point out that with the arrival of Okoye, we pretty much have almost everyone we're going to meet in this show, except for two characters. But let's talk about it right now. The actors of this episode. I was going to put it out there as a guess if anybody knew how many of the people on the list are not the actual actor portraying the character in the MCU in physical form, and you would be shocked and appalled to find out that it is just one person, because I don't really count Steve Rogers, Captain America's voice.
Yeah.
Josh Keaton does a great job, but he only has like one line, and then he basically goes for the rest of the time. So we get everyone except Peter Parker.
They really did that.
They did, and I have to give it to Hudson Thames. He did an amazing job.
There were times
where I noticed that his voice wasn't spot on, but there were times where I was like, "Wow, that was a great."
Like in like the first couple of lines, I was like, "Okay." Well, and then the rest of the time, I was like, "Spider-Man."
I agree. They got everyone else back. Evangeline Lilly, Paul Rudd, Jon Favreau, Danae, like even Kurt, David I cannot pronounce this, Dastmalchian. Dastmalchian? I'm going to guess that's his last name. David Dastmalchian. And then Ebony Maw is actually Tom Von Layler in the movies. So they got him as well.
They got Mark Ruffalo from Now You See Me.
Right. Which we watched on the weekend. So we introduced Okoye, and then we got to meet all the actors, which they got a ton for this episode. And I think it was improved by it. I know the producer of this show, while watching it, kept pausing and saying things like, "That's Emily Van Camp," and then playing it some more, and then pausing it, being like, "That's Evangeline Lilly." And I thought that was delightful. And yeah, they didn't use Tom Holland because he can't keep a secret. I've
seen the clips. They're so bad.
So we've gotten there. We've revealed that there is a beacon that's being sent out to people, and the code is right in the beginning of it. It is in non-linear hexacode, as defined to us by Bruce Banner, and they tell us that they have to go to Camp Lehi, which I can never get right. It's Camp Lehi, Camp Lehi. They have to go to Camp Lehi, which really interestingly...
Can't leave her, Vision.
Camp Lehigh, as you'll see in the top left there, Camp Lehigh is in Infinity War, or in Endgame, I guess, because that's the place they go back in time to when they need to steal the stone. So that was like the first thing. And then, so everything you see, and I didn't take any screenshots of this too, because I didn't really feel I had enough time today to get into the Camp Lehigh, and it's just a side thing. But I'm going to guess that a lot of the images that you see in when they are at the camp are directly taken from the camp itself. And from those images that we have from Endgame when they broke in to steal things. And instead of breaking in, they go there to find it is Vision and the Moon and the Mind Stone.
I was watching it and I was looking at it and I was like, okay, we're breaking in. Vision? What? Okay, you're an android.
Yes.
You're a villain?
I will point out, I'm not from New York City, but even I knew that Grand Central Station doesn't actually take you to New Jersey, that you have to literally leave there, walk, like take one of the different trains down, get on a different train that'll actually take you out of the city.
I mean, Happy complained about New Jersey, which was a very American,
true,
like New York thing.
And so, I've cut a whole bunch of moments that you really liked in the show out. I cut out, as we moved forward, we lost the whole travel portion of the episode, which I thought was fun, interesting. What are your thoughts about how, when they found out about the code and how they got to Camp Lehigh?
I don't, getting there was okay.
Right.
But, the whole, train station thing was so what? What? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going on the whole time there, but I like the train, and I like the train and starting up the train, and when Hope went into the actual inside of the train, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I wish I'd taken the time to create a PowerPoint piece, a PowerPoint piece that actually broke down how many times Cape saves someone, because it's not a small number in this episode.
It's so much. The Cape is protecting everyone.
So, another reason I didn't really want to delve into the whole train montage sequence that allowed us to go from our set piece of in New York City and introducing everybody to Grand Central Station, Grand Central Terminal, because Grand Central Station is underneath Grand Central Terminal. From there to our next piece, which is Camp Lehigh, is because that's generally just our zombie moment of the show. One of the key ones is when a group of people have to go from one place to another, we lose people along the way. And this is where we
Welcome to horror.
Exactly. And we almost lose them in the order they're introduced. It seemed like we lose Sharon. We lose...
No, we lose Happy, then we lose Sharon.
Yeah, we lose Happy, we lose Sharon, then we lose, I could go backwards because I can't remember. We lose Kurt, we lose Okoye, basically all the people that we're introduced to. And when new people join, that gives us the signal in a zombie show that the people we've grown to like and appreciate and love are going to go away. So, so we get to Camp Lehigh from Endgame. And we find out that the non-linear hexacode is coming from Vision, and we get this beautiful WandaVision moment that everyone is in love with because...
WandaVision,
WandaVision, WandaVision. Yes, that you wanted to do that for sure. What did you think of this moment?
What?
What did you think
Which
of this
particular
scene,
moment?
this group of scenes where we are introduced to Vision, find out he is the ultimate bad guy of the entire thing at this point because he's being selfish, and the resolution when they finally get away?
Yeah, Vision can say he's not human, but he's so human.
He was really human, right? That's a really good point.
That's such a human thing to do is, I can't leave her.
Yes. he's not something that is desired by the hungering of the flesh zombies. So it makes perfect sense that he is free of their influence, and yet when Wanda is taken, he cannot either put her to rest or save her. He is stuck in this eternal limbo.
He's also like feeding her, which is like, can you not?
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit because oh, well, yeah, okay, so sorry, I've reordered my PowerPoint the wrong way, and that is before we got here, we have the best moment and then the best subsequent moment following the vision stuff. And that I felt was when we get our character that's scratched in Hope Van Dyne in The Wasp. She gets scratched, but when she bursts free from Sharon, I've got Sharon all over me. When she bursts free, she's got a scratch on her, so we know she's going to turn. But it's going to be a slow process turn because it's just a scratch in her shoulder. We don't know how much saliva actually got her. It's not a full-on bite, right? So we don't know how long it's going to take. And she decides to sacrifice herself and save the day and scoop them all up and carry them over to Camp Lehigh and drop them off inside.
And then proceed to just...
And then proceeds to...
I was singing Giant Woman the whole time.
Okay. She proceeds to fall. And my favorite moment was like, you see her laying there, not shrunk back down, still giant. We get the allusion to a giant zombie earlier when the car increases to large size and explodes the zombie. So hopefully we've been set up with enough foreshadowing to go, oh no, giant Hope. And so when at almost the very end of the episode, when Giant Hope reaches out and grabs the quad jet, which was weird because I thought they had Quinjets by now, which is, one more than quad jet. But nonetheless, when Hope reaches out and grabs the quad jet, I was like, I knew it. So I don't know if anyone else felt that way. Did you see that coming?
I didn't really see it coming, but I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the throwing the gun.
She threw another zombie at it. He goes, oh, I love the moment. Yes, I think that voice of that guy who goes, oh, is done by Matthew Wood because he's another actor in this episode as well. So, this is my favorite moment of the entire show because it sets you up and then pays off. And I knew that it was done really well because the producer sitting next to me watching the show suddenly goes, but Hope is still big when Hope went crashing down. So I knew the best was yet to come. And that was the best one for me. I don't know what it was for you. Now,
Scott Lang in the glass jar. Yeah. My first thought was the brain.
Yeah, right? So Scott Lang hikes up the levity in this episode with a basic stream of jokes that could only be delivered in that lighthearted, I mean it, but not darkly earnestness.
I keep doing
it. That Paul Rudd can give us. And so I wanted to just give you some of these amazing dad jokes and then have Robin respond to them as I think Robin should. And I made it too small in the screen, so I can't show you Robin's reaction. I need to get this thing motorized when he's referring to the chair.
Yeah.
Because he's just ahead, right? And he couldn't turn it around himself. He says, I know what you're thinking. I've lost weight.
When he said that line, I started thinking about his heart. Like, how is he alive? Like, where are his lungs? Like, I was thinking, oh, that makes sense. He could live off just a brain. And then I was like, oh, where is his chest cavity?
How about, don't worry, I won't let it go to my head.
You are, my only reaction was, you are only a head.
I tend to process traumatic events with dad jokes.
Accurate.
And I'm just sad I won't get to be chewed out by the old man again.
Oh. Yeah,
which
that
is
was like
another zombie pun because it was Hank Pym who probably bit him in the we watch him get bit by Hank Pym and Janet in the first case, right? And then we've got, watch out, she's a man eater.
I like that one.
I thought you might. And then my favorite of all of them, I won't go to the last one here. My favorite of them all is the cape wraps around his bottle and he sings out, Wingardium Leviosa. So thank you, Scott Lang, for bringing much needed levity to the zombie apocalypse episode of this delightful What If. And then we get the massive immediate turnaround, I want to choke your heartstrings out, and that is Tchalla. So first, in the comics, I don't remember which one it is, 2 or 3 of the series, Black Panther is actually captured by Giant Man, and Giant Man has cut off parts of Black Panther, T'Challa, and is eating them slowly in order to ensure that the victim stays alive and doesn't turn into a zombie, because there's so few zombies left. And they paid direct homage to this by having Vision cutting off pieces of T'Challa to feed to Wanda. And of course, he can't bring himself to do it very often. This is not uncommon in zombie lore. This is a regular thing that is done. Survivors cutting other survivors to eat them as cannibals, or to control other zombies, or to ensure that a person doesn't turn into a zombie if a lower extremity has been cut or broken.
Well, that one I get, because it's like, okay, so we're just gonna like remove your arm.
And so we don't get that this time. This isn't T'Challa being saved because he was bit in the foot.
That's what I thought initially, and then I was like,
yeah.
Vision!
That's not the case. So, yeah, this is a direct reference to the comics where Giant Man was doing the same thing to Black Panther there. And then they hit us hard in the heart when Black Panther at the tail end of the episode says, in my culture, death is not the end. They are still with us as long as we do not forget.
And then we see Thanos.
Yes, and then we see Thanos. I don't know if they knew at this point what was going on with Chadwick Boseman to give us this line, but it has a lot of power associated with it. And as I was asking Robin earlier, hey, Robin, which of the 5 episodes we've seen so far is your favorite? And Robin said,
I really like the T'Challa Star-Lord one. I think that it was like really cool, and it did a lot with the characters that we don't see very often.
I would 100% agree. And then in this episode, it lends gravitas to a silly, changed episode where you get to see zombified superheroes, which is fun and lighthearted and kind of easy, but at the same time, like, you know, is it important and is it relevant? And then it's made so by Chadwick Boseman once again delivering an incredible line with an incredible amount of weight behind it. So I have been remiss in not naming our storyboard artists, or at least presenting their names to you. Some of the art in this show is just fabulous. I point out Ground Central Terminal, which is like straight out of
amazing.
The like you could find Google images that are pretty much matching to this. We've got the train coming through the terminal.
Wait, you could find Google images that look like the zombie apocalypse from Marvel of the Grand Central.
If you look at Grand Central Terminal here, it doesn't look so much like a zombie apocalypse. It's just like early morning and there's no one around.
There's a lot of garbage on the ground, though.
Fair, I guess. Anyway, so we've got our ship flying away into the sunset. The whole episode started with the sunrise as the sun came up over New York and the Hulk crashed. And then the episode ended with the sunset.
Base that they're in.
I know, right? Peter Parker has suspended a bunch of city either buses or subway trains high above the city so that the zombies, who are not particularly physically capable, the zombies aren't able to get there because they can't crawl across the threads of webbing to do it.
Yes. He's built a spider web.
Yes, but the webbing slowly dissolves over time, right? We're told. So I kept wondering while I saw that moment, and it's gorgeous in its creation. I'm like, how much time does he have to spend just keeping those things aloft? Anyway, I don't doubt that much like our director, Brian Andrews, who was one of the storyboard artists for so many years with Marvel and the MCU movies as they were built up and developed, that these names that we are looking at here down the road will also be directors and producing their own content, because this group of storyboard artists, of which I think there's 27, do such a fabulous job of making these episodes feel so real and so beautifully, like the perspective of this show is amazing. Like they always give us new ways of looking at things from an animated perspective.
It's so like cool and crafty, and I wish I could do backgrounds like that because it's just so magnificent.
Yeah, they spent their time developing things, and it's just when you go out into the world, which of course none of us do because it's a pandemic, but when we do get out there and we see magnificent vistas, it's important to remember them and look at the perspective we're seeing them from.
The
and
architects had to spend a lot of time.
Yes, and also just I was thinking about the mountains,
yeah.
So like the mountain architects. So absolutely fabulous.
You mean the glaciers?
You
mean the glaciers? The mountain architects?
Sure. You're right. Or just tectonic drift. And then we end. Even I thought like, okay, they're going to get to Wakanda and everything's going to be great. But I'm looking at the time like, how long is this episode? And then the Watcher starts talking to us and he's saying ominous things as it zooms in on none other than suddenly zombified Thanos, who has 5 of the 6 rings. 5 of the 6 stones. You can see I've seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings too recently. He has 5 of the 6 stones.
And then I get the Vision Stone, and then he snaps, and then everyone's dead.
Well, is he still hungering after the stone, or is he just going to use the powers he currently has to consume flesh? Does he desire to take out half the universe, or is he now desiring to eat half the universe?
I think he just wants to eat all of the universe, Dad.
Either way, do you think this is a part 1 of a 2-part? I think this is the end.
I think it'd be cool if it is a part 2, but it probably isn't.
Who's left? There is, we've got Thor maybe out there, right? We've got the Guardians maybe out
Captain
there.
Marvel?
Captain Marvel doesn't get summoned. You wanted to talk about that too.
I was also just like, where is she?
But
what's
is
she doing?
this a cliffhanger?
Maybe.
And if it is, I mean, it's a cliffhanger, right? We don't know what happens next, and we're wondering what it is, and it's left on this big dramatic, what's going to happen now? My question is, do they resolve that for us, or are we done? What do you think?
We're done.
You think it's done?
Probably. Although, I think it would be cool if we got, like, we got to see all of the remaining people. Also, just, like, Spider-Man and Thor in the same room. That's funny. Spider-Man, Thor, and, like, all of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the same room.
Yep. Well, much like Marvel Zombies when it first came out and was a one-shot, and it ended in such a way that people were like, what's next? Because they don't cure the virus, they just find a way to put it at bay, and it's largely revolving around Magneto. In this instance here, I really want to know what's going to happen next. And so is there going to be, much like Marvel Zombies 2, Marvel Zombies 3, Marvel Zombies 4, Marvel Zombies Resurrection, right? Like, are we going to get to that stage? So I would conjecture that we might not see Marvel Zombies again this season, but I'll put it out there, and I bet large numbers that it is Marvel Zombies 2 next season. So any wrap-up final thoughts there, Robin?
No, I don't really have a lot of them. I really liked the episode. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed coming on.
Oh, good. What was your favorite moment of the episode?
I like even though it was like, Vision, wow, you're very selfish today. I did like all of the WandaVision moments. I think they were cool, despite not having seen the ending the ending of WandaVision.
Okay.
And I'm awesome.
I would say that you are extremely awesome. I am spending a moment here while you give an opportunity to chat to try to remember what it was I was watching. Yes, there it is. So, to put it into rest at the very end, nobody threw up the title that I could see in the chat, but I'll go through it later. The map that you saw that was brought up is from the Netflix TV show Daybreak, which is kind of like Ferris Bueller in an apocalypse scenario. There's kind of zombies in it too, where all of the adults want to eat flesh and can't really talk except for say the last thing they were thinking before they were infected. Yeah, so one lady's walking down the street saying Warm Bodies. No, that's the movie Warm Bodies with Nicholas Hoult. This is a TV show called Daybreak. So, it came out in 2019. Anyway, so that's the one there. If you came up with it in the time, I will find you and make you your prize, and it will be amazing, and I will reach out to you. Nonetheless, I'm looking forward to the next episode of What If. There are a few left. We know for a fact that we're going to get Killmonger, and we know for a fact that we're going to get at least Sorcerer Supreme Strange and Captain Carter to meet up. So that is definitely 2 of our remaining 4 episodes. I'm kind of glad the zombies wasn't the finale of the whole thing. Yeah. I liked how it was played out. I liked the low stakes. I mean, the world is ending and everyone's a zombie, but it does feel low stakes considering there are many other universes to explore.
Yeah, compared to this Strange episode, that was low stakes.
I agree. That's it for me. That's it for us. I don't think I've got a ton more.
I'm awesome. Robin is awesome.
So let's just end on that, shall we? Robin is awesome, and we'll see you next week for more What If.